Hey guys, and welcome back to part 7 of my vinyl collection tour. I have skipped the Dream Theater section apart from the few from part 6 because I did an entire collection tour of that, and that was uploaded a few months ago now. So I'm moving on to the next section or box in the collection. So let's get cracking into it. So first up we have Edge of Sanity, Crimson 1 and 2. These are pressed on green vinyl. Kind of a little bit annoying that you can't really fit a 40-minute song on one side of a record, and it kind of, I think from memory, it sort of cuts in and out a little bit through sections, but unfortunately there's not much I can do about that. Maybe they'll do a better repress at some point down the track, but I need to get that. Following that one we have Purgatory Afterglow, another one of my favourite Edge of Sanity albums. The artwork again, so it got that little bit of sort of pixelation to it. This one's pressed on orange vinyl. Yeah, probably my second favourite Edge of Sanity album after Crimson. A few others that are really cool, but I have them on CD rather than just vinyl as well. Then we come up to the Almighty Emperor. This one's a repress of Wrath of the Tyrant. Got it from Nuclear Blast. Corner got crunched. The whole box got crunched, so the corners on everything that was in there has this little bit of a mangled cover, but the records were all okay. This one's got a cool swirl artwork on it. So there we have that one. Then moving right along after that we have the As the Shadows Rise EP on picture disc. There was a standard sort of 12-inch version of this which I missed out on getting, but I scored this one, so I was happy to add that one into the collection. Then we have the Almighty in the Nightside Eclipse. I was lucky to get to see them play all but one song of this a couple of months back in Melbourne. This one's an original pressing, or first pressing, that I've had for a long time. It's not a case queen or case candy or whatever. She's been played. I also bought a repress of Nightside to get signed. Trim jumped in there early even though he doesn't play on it and signed it, which bummed me out a little bit, but I've got Samoth and Ihsahn's signatures on there as well, so I paid the extra for the VIP meet and greet and got some cool stuff in amongst it. Then we have, moving right along, Anthems to the Welcome at Dusk, one of my, probably in my top 5, maybe top 10 at a stretch, but or definitely top 10, maybe top 5 albums of all time. This one, first pressing as well, been played a bunch. Then we have a repress of that also. This one's on green vinyl. Their first tour of Australia, I saw them on, got the VIP meet and greet tickets for that, so I got it signed by Trim, Samoth and Ihsahn. So 3/4 of the band that played on it. Both of these Emperor vinyl records I'll probably get framed up and find a section of wall where I can actually hang them one day. From there we have the Reverence EP on a 12-inch. I think I've got a 7-inch of this as well. I should have probably found that amongst my 7-inches, but this one's blue vinyl. Great song off a great album. Then 9 Equilibrium, again first pressing from the early 2000s. Played that one a bunch as well. And the final album, Prometheus, what's it, The Discipline of Fire and Demise. I really like this. It's kind of, yeah, sort of, I guess it was a transition for Ihsahn from Emperor into his solo stuff. Yeah, that was first pressing. Then we have the Emperor box set. What do they call it? The Imperial vinyl presentation. These are all picture discs. It's got what is it? Wrath of the Tyrant. Had a complete brain fart there. Wrath of the Tyrant, In the Night Side Eclipse, Anthems to the Welkin at Dusk, 9 Equilibrium, and I also got the picture disc for Prometheus, which was out with the first pressing and stuff, so I added that into there as well. It's got a cool booklet and stuff. It's numbered, and I can't remember the numbers actually printed on the inside of the box, so I can't remember exactly what it is off the top of my head. Maybe I should have done some prior research. So that's my Emperor collection. I wish I had the massive box set that was like $1,500, but I couldn't really justify it, seeing I already have it on CD and vinyl, in some cases 2 copies on vinyl, plus the picture disc versions. So if I win Lotto, I'll track one down and I'll pay whatever necessary for it, but I just couldn't justify it when it was available. From there we have Ihsahn, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. This one's out of order. This is Iron, album number 2. They do a killer version of Battery on this Metallica song, and there's the first album, self-titled. Both of these feature Yari before he went off to do Ihsahn and record a shit ton of stuff and never actually release it. But that's just me being a little bitchy about waiting for Time 2 and the 6 other albums or whatever that he's working on. If you know about all of that stuff, then you know what I'm talking about. Next up we have Entombed, Left Hand Path. Just one of the best Swedish death metal albums of all time, especially one of the best debuts, along with, I guess, I can't really say because Like An Ever Flowing Stream's great. Penetralia by Hypocrisy is brilliant as well. Into the Grave was a great album, and a bunch of other stuff. Anyway, we'll keep on with Entombed. This is Clemenstein, my favourite of theirs. This one's the first pressing as well. It's got the embossed logo on there. Got that off a mate of mine a couple of years ago, so shout out to Simon if you actually see this. Cheers, brother. In a very good home. Wolverine Blues up next. Really like this album, even though it kind of went a bit death and rollish. Some people liked it, some people didn't. I liked it. We have Monkey Puss Live, which corresponds to the video that came out many years ago. I think they're on, like, I'm not sure if it was a Groin Crusher tour or something. I think it was them and Carcass and maybe Cathedral, maybe someone else. Next up we have Equipoise, or Demiurgus, or Demiurgus. This variant's limited to 100 copies, first pressing. This is an amazing technical death metal album that features Phil Tugis from First Fragment, and also Hugo, I forget his last name, from Beyond Creation. I was actually talking to Hugo about how much I love this when I saw Beyond Creation in Melbourne about 4 years ago. He was such a cool guy. Yeah, I wish I'd taken a selfie with him or something just for prosperity, but never did. Eucharist, a Velvet Creation, another great early Swedish death metal album. I think Daniel Erlandsson from Arch Enemy played on this. Maybe someone else as well, but I'm struggling to think who it might have been on it. Then gets a bit lighter. We have Extreme Pornography. I got this from a second-hand place about 10-15 minutes out of town from a small town where I live. It's like $10 or something. Nuno Betancourt on this is amazing. Doesn't matter that it's got More Than Words and Wholehearted, the ballads. That's a really good heavy rock album, despite those couple of powered ballads, and they're great songs anyway, so who cares. Fate's Warning up next, No Exit. This was a great sort of progressive metal album from the late 80s. I think it was, yeah, 87. Torn through the thing. This was a mate of mine's, but after a crazy drunken, drug-fueled night, I rocked up the next day to find the majority of his albums strewn up and down the driveway, snapped in half and stuff. There was only about 4 or 5 that remained that were unscathed. This was one of them, so I confiscated them off him, told him the next day when he'd sobered up, and he was like, yep, fair call, because like all of his early Metallica records and stuff, and this was back in the early 90s, they were all just destroyed. Next up, Fear Factory, Genexus. I've only played this once or twice. It was just the record shop that I used to work in was going out of business and everything was half price, and there wasn't a huge amount of metal there for me to buy, but Fear Factory was there, so I thought I'd grab that while I was at it. Then we have Fintroll, Jackton's Tid. This is the second album. Absolutely love this. It came out around the time I scored a heap of cool free promo CDs that were on the Spine Farm label. There was these guys in Sifram, Thyrain, there might have been a Thigh Serpent album as well, a couple of others. Absolutely fell in love with this, so I've got some of their other stuff. I don't like it as much, but this album is one of my favourites. It's definitely my favourite from them, so that's it. Then moving along to more technical death metal, and Phil Tugas. This is his band First Fragment, second album. Just this is just godlike. The playing on that is amazing. Forest, and does like however many bass solos. There's something like 100 guitar solos on the whole album. It's just ridiculous, but amazing at the same time. Then we have Flotsam and Jetsam, Doomsday for the Deceiver, Jason Newsted before he was in Metallica. I'm not sure if this is the first pressing or it's an early pressing from '86. Yeah, really underrated. Maybe it's not underrated. It's just a great thrash album. Anyway, then moving along, we have Gates of Ishtar, Blood Red Path. This like a repress. The original CD had different cover art. Great melodic death metal. I really like the first one and the second one. Actually, no. Dawn of Flames. I've got these mixed up. That's the second album. Blood Red Path is the first album. This is really cool. This was the one that got me into them initially. There was a song on there, Trail of Tears. I've had a guitar tab for it and learned how to play it. It was just lots of fun. It was a real workout on the right arm for the arm picking. At Dusk and Forever, it was their third album. I don't know this one very well. It was kind of one that I picked up way down the track and didn't really listen to it a great deal. I think the band became the Duskfall after that album had come out. This one seems to be a lot of technical death metal because we've got Gorod, A Maze of Recycled Souls. I haven't even unwrapped this one. Probably not my favourite Gorod album of all. That would be Process of a New Decline, I think, and the Transcendence EP, which you get I bought directly from the band, is awesome. It's got the Cynic cover on it and the title track Transcendence, which is like 15 minutes long, and I love long songs, so that's brilliant. I need to race through the rest of these because it's going to take up a fair bit of time and I've gas bagged a lot. Guns N' Roses, Appetite for Destruction, just a great rock and roll, heavy rock album. Use Your Illusion is this one, yep. I forget which one's which when it comes to the colours and what songs are on what. Just grew up with these. A lot of my mates really loved Guns N' Roses at the time, so I heard it a lot, got played in the car a lot. Appetite not Appetite, Use Your Illusion number 2. Brain Farts here. Then we have the Haunted self-titled album. This one's on red vinyl. It was a bit of a departure from At the Gates. It was same but different. I do like that. Their second album, I think, was probably my favourite. I've got 2 copies of this. One's on red vinyl, one's on clear vinyl. I should probably sell one of them off because I don't need 2. Another sort of underrated thrash gem of Heathen, Breaking the Silence. They do a cool, sweet cover of Set Me Free. Really like this. Moving along, we get into Halloween. I'll start flying through these pretty quickly. Walls of Jericho, repress of their first album. I really like that album. I really like all of the early Halloween stuff. We have the Judas EP here. There's 3 tracks on it. Judas Ride the Sky and Guardians. Kai was still handling vocal duties at that point. Then we have a picture disc for Keeper Part 1. I bought a collection off a mate many years ago, and that and Keeper Part 2 were both in there, so that was a real score amongst it all. Oh no, sorry, that's Keeper Part 1. There's Keeper Part 2. So I think I got the picture disc. I already had this one, and I got Keeper Part 2 off him as well. All that stuff, like I guess the precursor to power metal as we know it now. Halloween, I Want Out. I'm not sure if one of these was like a 12-inch single, and there's another I Want Out which was the same as the live in the UK live album that came out around the same time. So we've got Dr. Steen, 12-inch, cool song. Grows Lots of Funny Creatures live in the UK, which I was just referring to. I think it's like 7 tracks on this, and must be this one, I Want Out Live, which is the same as this. So I'm not sure why they did different covers, but it is what it is. Then we have Heretic. This was sort of like a power thrash album from America. It featured Mike Howe, who spent a bit of time as the vocalist for Metal Church and has since passed away, but he's an amazing singer. So that was like in a second-hand store. I come across it. I was going, Mike Howe, I know who he is. I'll buy that. Then we getting into some Hypocrisy, the final chapter. This one's on blue vinyl. I've had this for a while, so I don't know if this was a repress or an original pressing. I need to look into that. So I need to get everything piled into Discogs and then see where I'm at with everything. Then we have Catch-22. Is it Catch-22? Yeah, Catch-22. This is a double gatefold and Into the Abyss, so it's a 2-for-1 deal that Nuclear Blast put out. Yeah, it folds out. And it's got the 2 albums, but you can't see it the way I store these in the back. But yeah, the Into the Abyss album covers behind these records. As well as on a Hypocrisy phase that I bought them. Virus, another great, I really like this particular album. It's got some really cool guitar work and solo work. Forget his name. He's in some other band now. I think he's playing bass for someone. I forget his name though. Then the last 3 in this box, and it's only a part of his releases. We have the almighty Ihsahn, The Adversary, his first solo album. This one's on red vinyl. Really cool. All of this stuff's really cool. Angle or Angel, or however you want to pronounce it. This one's on green vinyl. I was tempted to buy the Ihsahn box set that came out as well, but I've already got everything on vinyl, so I didn't see the point in buying it again. And the third one is after. This is on like a whitey clear vinyl as well. So that is part 7 done. It's probably taken a little bit longer than I anticipated or wanted it to, but so be it. thanks for watching. If you made it this far, feel free to like, comment and subscribe, all of that stuff. Let me know if you've got any particular favourites out of that or whatever. Anyway, until next time, I am over and out.